Hello there. So, I haven't got one to show you. We're just going to do this all in one go and then post a picture of it. Now I know that's cheating because I like to make it and then show you how I made it. Yes, so I have my reasons. Anyway, so a friend of mine is doing a charity event of wear a pinny to work, and she wants to wear, and bolder the better, and she wants to wear this. So let's go about making it for her. Now I know she likes to wear her pinnies sort of quite far round, so we're going to make use of the material that we have, and it's a flag, so I know she chose it herself. Who am I to judge? So we're going to give her 2 flags. Now there is a right way up actually, and there's a wrong way up, and it's a bit deceptive. So yes, I'm just stopping to think. Yeah, that's okay, we'll do it that way. Now we need a pouch at the front, so we'll make use of this cloth, and I think I'll use this hem as well, so we need to do that. Now I've already done some piping and I've got a little bit more to do because I'm going to pipe the top of it. So here we go. Now this is normal common or garden string. Helps to put it on the floor. It helps to have it lower so it pulls itself taut. So I have a strip of fabric and I have my string in the middle. I'm going to fold that over. I'm going to give myself some string to deal with, and then I'm going to bring this piece of string over the front and just do a couple of stitches. Now the reason I'm doing this is because we've got the string on the floor, it's very easy for the whole of the string just to fall out. Now I've put a zipper foot on my machine. This is because my needle doesn't adjust to either side. So if you've got a clever machine that you can push it one side to the other, then that's great. If not, you can do it, but it just won't look as tidy. Now I've gone over my string, so I know that that's secure. It does mean that the starting bit of my piping I can't use, which is okay, you know. I just cut my piece of fabric a bit longer, but it's just one of those annoying things. So I'm letting the machine take it. I'm keeping it quite up because, as we know, satin is it puckers really easy, and we don't want that. So I'm making sure that it doesn't get any folds in it. And there we are. That's how you do piping, and that's what we've got left with. I know, it's quite easy, isn't it? Now, I'm going to do the pocket first, I think. So, and then I'm going to sew this over that. It's just to give it a bit of structure, and I'm going to go halfway, and I'm going to go upwards so it doesn't look too dramatic. Now, because it'll be easier to do the bottom part, but we're going to do this bit first. So I have my piping. I'm going to place it, I'm going to do it the other way around. I'd love to do it that way just to make it easier for you to see, but and I'm going to place it like that. Now I actually want it not matching because I want it more dramatic, you see. So I'm just going to line that up like that. I'm going to make use of the pattern so that I can see. And when I'm happy, then I'll start sewing. But not until then, because it's slippery stuff. We know it is. It's nice and shiny. So it's definitely going to fill the criteria of being very bold. But it takes delicate handling. Now, if you do have problems sewing satin, what I recommend is change your needle and make sure you're using good quality thread as well, because it can just jam up otherwise. Now I like sewing piping, I think it's quite easy, but just take your time. It may be an idea to get a nice piece of cotton to practice on before. You can get specialist hooks as well. I don't actually have one, and even if I had one I probably wouldn't use it because I don't think it would be helpful to you. I don't want to say, oh well, I've got this machine. So there we are. That's done. Now I suppose the easy way to do this would be to use pins, but I'm not like that. So I'm just going to trim those, and this is going to be the top of the pocket in the pinny. Now I think the charity's Great Ormond Street, so it's a good thing to do, and it's a good thing, well, it's always a good thing to help your friends, isn't it? But it's a good thing to help them if they're getting money for charity. Now this is the bit I did earlier, and I'm going to sew that all around the bottom. So that's all done. The other thing I need to do is the strap to go round. So I know I need to do the body, but I like to do the bits and then sew them all together. But it is just personal preference which order you do this in, because that's the nice thing about designing something yourself, that you can do. Now this is a bit of a top tip for you, so it's entirely up to you whether you do it. I would love for you to try it because I find it much better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place that in the middle, and then I'm going to fold this round. Okay, so we're the wrong side round, and we've got this in the middle which I'm not actually going to sew. This is just to make it easy to turn it all inside out. But I am going to give it a good couple of stitches at the top there, just to keep it in line. So, just done that. And I'm now at the top corner. So I'm going to make sure this is well out of the way. If you've got a piece of cord, then use it. I'm actually using a scrap of cloth that's the binding of another type of cloth. Now, yeah, use whatever you've got actually. I've just got into the habit of saving this for this purpose. So every time you see me doing this in the future, or if you go back in any videos, you'll find that I'm using that bit of binding. And it literally is the seam from a ream. So yeah, this machine is quite noisy, but it's very fast. What I'm doing is a little running stitch. I suppose I've got it set on quite a long stitch. And I've got to keep this up so I don't pucker. And with my thumb I've got it on the cloth so that I can fold it over, all in one movement. Too busy talking, not paying attention. What I'm going to do is just restart that a little way back because I came off. Yeah, so, you know, as soon as you see a problem, rectify it is my advice. There we go. I must admit, I don't think I cut this very well. There we are. I am coming towards the end. Close eye on it, and making sure that I don't come off on the bottom. Yeah, I just think I really didn't do a very good job cutting it, so please bear with me. And there we are. Now this is all going to become clear why we inserted that piece of cord stroke weird strap. So I'm at this end, got the strap sticking out and the stitches going across there. And just with my fingers, I'm going to pinch it and push it down. This is just to get it started. So I've got a nice sort of tubey thing. Now, I suppose, you know, the traditional way to do this is with knitting needles. I do actually. So here I am at the far corner with my binding tape, and I'm literally going to pull and push at the same time. So it is, I can't really keep you in the screen. So I'm holding this quite loosely, but I'm not letting it go. And then I'm tugging this with this hand, and it's just slowly coming through. I feel like I'm doing a bit of a weird gymnastic thing, so I know that I'm getting you in shot for each movement. But it makes life just that much easier, you know, and otherwise I'd have to iron this, which it wouldn't like being ironed, would it? This stuff doesn't really iron. And there we go. So, I'm going to trim this, but I'm going to sew this into the main body of the garment. So it doesn't matter that we've got just a few hairy bits. Now, to keep this lying nice and flat, I'm going to run over it with the sewing machine. So, and line it up again, and literally let the machine take it, and that will sort out any puckers that we have. Make a few more. So there we go. Now, so the charity, I don't think you can hear me over the machine, can you? Maybe if I was going slower. There's just no way I can make it this shorter, because I know she likes to wear her apron and knot it round the front. So now this end I've got to keep quite neat and tidy, because this is the end that's going to be shown. I'm going to trim it off. And then I'm going to tuck it in and do a couple of stitches. So I've got a thumb each side. I'm just pinching it and pushing it through, and then keeping that edge nice and tidy. So what I could do is just stick a pin in there and make life a bit easy. But I'm just going to hold it down. So there we go. We're coming up to the seam now. I'm going to leave my foot down. And I'm going to leave my needle down, I'm going to lift my foot and turn it around. There we go. I'm going to push it with my hand because it's not got enough cloth underneath the teeth, because we're so close to the edge here. But yeah, we'll just cope. And then I'm going to literally run down this fold here. So again, just getting it started, lining it up with the edge of the skirt, and away it goes. So we're coming up to a bit which you can see has got puckering, and this will just literally iron out the puckering. Keep it up all the time so it's at an angle. You shouldn't get quite as much. There we go. So I don't need to worry about this end because I'm literally sewing it in. So I'm going to keep this safe, because I'm going to need that again in the future. So here I've got my apron, and I've got quite a generous seam allowance. Now you could put anything on it. She wants it quite plain. It's just her personality. I think this needs to be double seamed. So like that, to give it a bit of weight rather than just putting in the hemming foot. So I'm sticking with this foot, and I'm literally a couple of reverse stitches. Making sure that I haven't caught up anything in underneath or anything. A little bit of puckering. Okay, this stuff does sort of fray, so be careful that you don't get any material caught in the machine. Just double check that. Give it a good tug, so just sort it out. Yes, I really am funny, aren't I? So I'm just going to do the top now, and because I'm doing the top, what I'm going to do is make sure I've got the right end for this. It's just sew in my end now. So I'm folding it over, so I'm doing my seam, but I'm going to do a good couple of reverse and stitches over this just to keep it nice and secure. I think she's only got to wear it for one day, but I think it's going to be quite a long day. So there we go. And back again. Now what I want to do as well is I wanted to go back so that I could then do, I think a waistband is probably the wrong word, but I have given myself a lot more cloth here so that I can do a band. And if I feel that this looks silly, then I'm just going to run over a second lot of stitches as well. So let's get this machine going. It's having a bit of trouble because that's quite a thick bit of sewing there, thick bit of the garment. Making sure that I keep to those lines. There we go. Now the machine's managed to grab the cloth. I do have an extra bit of thread, so it's going to pucker at the back. But that's fine, we'll just ignore that. There we are. Seem to be struggling, then I just give it a tug at the back. This is because that's what satin's like. There's no two ways about it. Well, that's what satin's like in this machine. I'm going to say something terrible now. Momentum helps with me because then it doesn't get too stuck. Lovely, so I'm going to get ready to do this. I'm just going to check my ends so that I've got the right end. And this is all going to fold round. Trim that bit, I think. I see. So I need to roll the hem inwards. So that I've got my hem going down there. Then I need to insert that. This is just so they match, and then fold over what I'm laughingly calling the waistband. It's not a waistband, I know, but it's as close as I'm going to get. So when I'm happy with that, I'm going to start sewing again. And again, I'm going to do a nice couple of reverse stitches. I suppose I can go that way, can't I? So that I've got everything in place and everything's at least going to survive a day. And what I'm going to do, even though this is for Great Ormond Street Children's Hospital in London, for her charity day, is I'll probably offer to make a scarf out of it for her, so she's always got a memento. So it depends how trashed it gets, doesn't it? Yeah. If it's got stains on it, she might not want it as a scarf. Lovely. So we're just cutting down the side now, and we can get the bottom done. Now ideally I would have put a penny in there just to keep the weight down. The seams will help though. So I'm on my fold there, and I can whirl this round. There we go. All these bits, it's probably best if you just trim them now, because otherwise you're just going to have to concentrate and tucking them in. So this is all folded over. Lower my foot. And then I'm using the lines of the pattern again. There we go. We're just coming to the end again, so keep that in there. It's all a bit runny, isn't it? And then we have to tuck this all in there, so if you just trim the corners if you want to, then we can do, because that just makes the fold a little bit less. And there we are, just tucking that last bit in. Let's take a second to line up my stitches, and here we go. So we have the basic shape, and all I need to do now is I need to stitch the pocket on. Now, is that going to be too wide? I think it might be. There we go. I just want to take a minute to go over that, because so they look the same. I know I did stitch it, but there we are. So let's get that out of the way. was going to do it all in one hit, but what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to sew the binding on. So this is my loopy bit that we did at the end, and the right side, so that it's going to fold over like that. It's just going to make life a lot easier for me. There we are. I'm going to line it up underneath the foot, and I'm going to use this line of stitches as my guide. So what I need to do is I need to curve this round. So I'm going to bring this to the camera so you can see closely what I've done. Alright, just going across the bottom. Now what I do want to do is make sure these sides match, so I'm just going to take a moment . There we are, quite happy now on the straight. Over that layer of binding, I do need to switch that, trim that off, so I can get rid of that binding now. There we are. So let me just stand up here, and so I've just literally gone around the corner without puckering it. So what I need to do now is sew this onto this. Things to check for: that you are in the middle, and that you are, that you've got your pocket the right way up. So I know, you think I'm silly for saying that, but let's make life as easy as we possibly can for ourselves. So I'm going to fold it in half, and I'm going to mark that with a pin. So that's just a pin on here, and then I'm going to pin this to it. So that's great. Now all I need to do is sew the pocket on. There we are. Loads of scraggly ends. It's best to try and keep on top of them so they don't knock out the machine. But we're just going to make do. Okay, I'm just making sure that I'm not catching anything. I'm making sure that it lies completely flat, so that so the pocket doesn't gape. It's probably a good idea to do a line down the centre as well. There we are. I'm just coming up to the end now, making sure that everything's in place. Making sure that I'm not catching anything behind, because it does happen, you know, it really does. And there we are. So let me just trim this. Or not. It's staying. And I've got my tassely bits all caught up in the machine now. Now, so I don't want this gaping, what I'm going to do is just run a line of stitches along the middle, and I'm going to make sure I remove the pin. Yeah. Because you've got to. You've got to be kind and considerate. There we go. I'm just going to give myself a bit more thread as well. Yes, I'll give myself a bit more thread so I don't unthread the machine. Lovely. So let me see if I can do a show and tell. Because I probably can. Oh, I'm going to clash. So here we go. An apron for wear a pinny to work day. As bold as you dare. As bright and bold for Great Ormond Street Hospital. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you found it instructive. Of course, I will put a picture up there so you can see the beginning, you know, so you've got an idea of what you'll be making. And thank you ever so much for watching.